couple of questions, Coach. I guess for the second game in a row, Rams did a good job of being aggressive on offense and directing that offense. Just your thoughts about his past week and how the offense flows when he's on point.
Yeah, I think he's best when he's playing on-ball defense. It starts there, in my opinion, with him. When he's revved up and he's out front and he's getting into that ball and dictating, how that possession or how that catch is going to go. It's something we talk a lot about with our team, but especially him. He's different that way. He's so physical on the ball, and he's quick and he's strong, and he's got very, very good hands. And when he's doing that, I feel like his overall game, falls into place. And he is more aggressive on offense when he plays like that on defense. And that's what we've been seeing the last couple games, that he's playing the way that we feel like he needs to play for this particular team. When he's been coming off the bench and he's given us a spark on both ends of the floor, we're more physical when he's on the court, and now with the injury situation, we've played the three guards, him, Shaq, and Hub together a little bit. And that lineup obviously, isn't as lengthy as some other lineups, but it gives us a different look, and we really like it on both ends of the floor. As long as they're rebounding, we need those guys to be, have a rebounding hat on when they're out there together. But we like where Ram's at, and hopefully he'll continue to play well.
Yeah, obviously Shaq was pretty confident the other night, and on his last three-pointer, I don't know if you saw that live or not, but your thoughts on him releasing that shot and turning around looking at the bench before it went in the net?
Yeah, I didn't see it at the time, which I'm glad for both of us that I didn't. But I did see it, on the computer, and I called my wife in. I go, hey, you got to see this. You got to see this, and she's like, she didn't know about it either. And it was, that's about as confident as you can get. When you make that kind of move, and that ball better go through the net, if you do something like that. But, I've been saying it for weeks now. I love where he's at. I love his mental approach to practice. He's been very consistent. His focus has been better, really high level. And then now his shot, like I made the comment post-game that I was telling a coach that, man, I hope Shaq gets his shooting in, his practice into the game, because he'd been shooting it so well in our practices. Like, he rarely missed leading up to the game. And then, fortunately, it did for him that particular evening. Sometimes it doesn't. Someone will have a great couple days, and then for whatever reason, it doesn't click during the game. But for Shaq, it did. And, hopefully that confidence will stay there for a while.
Steph for a couple, and then over to Justin.
And kind of along those lines, it looks like Tolu and Cam and even yourself kind of had a reaction when Guy got that bucket there late in the game. I guess, what's it like kind of seeing guys, react and be happy for a guy like that?
Tolu is, I don't know, he's playing with a lot of joy right now. If you really watch him, he's smiling a lot out there, and he's been more vocal with our players in practice and in the huddles on game days, and rightfully so. He should be. This is his last go around, and he's trying to soak it all up, and he wants to win as much or more than anybody that we have in that locker room. You can just sense it, you can hear it, you can see it. And he's enjoying it. He's not putting all this undue pressure, on himself or our team. He's doing it in the right vein. And then when, a guy like Guy Cho, who, he has to go against every single day, has a moment like that, for him to lead the cheers is pretty cool. And, and so, yeah, it was a fun moment for all of us.
Tolu's talked a lot, the past couple of years when he's, decided to come back about, wanting to have a legacy at Mississippi State. How much does an impact on a younger player like Guy kind of play into that and kind of help define how he's remembered, when his career here is done?
I remember in the fall talking to Guy and talking to our coaches. He's going against, Jimmy Bell and Tolu Smith every day. What a baptism, into college basketball for a young kid to come in straight out of high school, and that's who you're going up against for June, July, August, September, for a whole year. And I told our staff, when Guy writes his book, this is going to be a big chapter of how he was, baptized into college basketball and who he had to go against. But for his growth, who knows, where his career is going to go. But we've got big plans for him, and we're big believers in Guy and his future. And I really believe that, this year has probably let him grow more than he normally would because of, who he's playing with and against in practice. And not just because of their size and their ability, but the type of guys they are. They treat him with great respect, even though, they're going at him every day. And it's competitive, but they're so willing to talk to him and help him and be there for him. And it's not like, they're looking down on him or anything like that. And it's been really cool to watch it unfold since this season began.
Chris, just going back to Shaq after the game, you mentioned him, becoming that third scorer. Just how, I guess, important is that to a guy like Josh, taking a little bit more off his shoulders where he doesn't feel like he has as much responsibility to shoulder the team's offensive, shooting, I guess, successfulness?
I don't know for sure, but I don't think Josh probably even thinks about that. He probably wants more shots, to be honest with you, like most players that are on the court. But I know from a coach's perspective, having more guys on the court that the other team has to pay more attention to certainly opens things up for everybody else, not just, Josh, but even, like the big guys around the basket. When there's more perimeter threats, the space gets better on the court and they can't, cling to them and double them and things of that nature. So, with Shaq's recent merging, if you will, of coming out and being that guy that's, third on the scouting report or however you want to put it, certainly helps everybody.
And then since we talked about Guy, I guess, I know it's been late in garbage minutes, but Adrian's hit a couple threes in some games. Just how's his development been going this year and where he's at now compared to when he first got here? Yeah,
I just grabbed him last week in practice and told him, I said, hey, man, I know you're not getting the minutes that you want, and I'm glad that you want the minutes. Keep working, but you're getting better. You're getting better, and our whole team notices it. Like he's gotten more run in practice when we go 5-on-5 because of the injuries. So now he's on the floor all the time, and so he's in front of all of us all the time. Where before, when we had both, DJ and Trey, he would get in, but not nearly as much because of the obvious. So because of that, I think he's trying to show everybody, hey, I can play too. And I've been working, behind the scenes on his body, and he's doing extra with Dom, which we decided a long time ago that, we wanted him to have kind of a different plan because of not getting the game minutes. We felt like he could ramp it up, in the weight room and try to change his body and get a little bit quicker and faster and stronger and all those things that they work on. But, he's an offensive threat. I mean, everyone that, has watched us play or practice knows that he can really score the ball. It's everything else that he's trying to learn and pick up, but he's got a bright future.
Danny P., second row middle. Go ahead.
Coach, we know what wins over Georgia and Missouri do to bolster the record, but what can it do for this team's confidence moving forward to the later half of the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, confidence is an interesting thing. It comes and goes. Sometimes it stays longer. It stays long. Sometimes it doesn't, individually and collectively. And certainly when you're getting that kind of feedback, which are wins, it makes everybody, feel better. The bonds grow deeper. The confidence with each other, the confidence in us and them, all grows. And obviously everyone says it, you want to be playing your best, down the stretch. You want to be playing your best ball, of that particular season, down the stretch. And I wouldn't say we're at the stretch, but, it's peaking, it's around the corner. And hopefully, that's something that this particular team will do.
Go ahead to the end to coach's left.
Coach Keyshawn obviously returned last week. How did you think he played in those two games?
Yeah, it was great timing, for our team with DJ going down and Keyshawn making his return. We had a lot of talks about what we were going to do rotational-wise and, if he wasn't, ready to go and what that would mean for us. So he couldn't have picked a better time, for us to come back and then to do it so well. I mean, he scored the ball, which, it's no secret that this team has struggled at times on that end of the floor, and to have another scoring option, especially with that kind of size and skill set and ability to play multiple positions, really helps this basketball team. And certainly, that confidence, what we just talked about, his is very high. Keyshawn has a lot of confidence in his ability, and he can score the ball, he can pass the ball, he understands how to play offense, and his defensive performance was much better against Missouri than it was against Georgia, and we're just happy to have him back.
Got time for a few more. We'll go back to Paul.
Along the lines of Trey and DJ, I noticed Trey didn't have the cast on the wrapping on his wrist, his thumb. Any update on Trey and DJ?
I haven't seen him today. We're going to practice this afternoon. Neither one of them has been on the practice court. Now, Trey's out there, but he doesn't do anything with his injured hand, so he really doesn't do much of anything in terms of practice. He has no physical contact at all, so he's in a practice uniform, but he's not really available for practice, and neither one of them have been available yet. So they still have steps in their progression. I would say, it's a maybe on both of them for Saturday. As we get closer, we'll know if they're going to be available or not. I don't think it'll be a game time decision. Hopefully they'll know before that. But they'll both have to make some steps, head in that direction in the next couple of days.
Steph, go ahead.
Along those lines, I guess, how big is this week for those guys that aren't necessarily injured, but, you're a few months into the season at this point, you're in the heart of SEC play?
This off week is awesome for everybody. When I saw it on the schedule, I was like, oh man, that's going to be great. And now that we're, at the start of it, it's even more than that. We all need it. We all need just a mini break and kind of de-stress a little bit and not have to, just turn it around like you always do and prepare for the next one. And I don't think our particular break couldn't have come at a better time. Obviously, with the injuries, we timed that well to be able to have an extra couple days to hopefully get, those guys back for another game rather than have to miss another game. And then just where we're at, we've won a couple games. We got the road win. Everybody's feeling good. So we go into this week not feeling like, man, I wish we were playing Wednesday to, get this taste out of our mouth. We don't have that going on. And, but we're certainly going to use it to our advantage too. We're going to get after it today and probably practice a little bit longer than we normally would on a Monday if we had a game on Wednesday, and really work on us totally. Do a lot of skill development, do some conditioning. So don't put out anything though till practice starts, so those guys don't come up with some sickness all of a sudden. And then we'll tear it back a little bit. Tuesday won't go nearly as long or as physical, and then Wednesday we'll be off altogether, and that will be a really good day for everybody. And then hopefully, on Saturday, we'll feel really good about where we're at.
Benjamin, wrap us up.
Looking at this Arkansas team, they got some size and physicality for sure. What do you see in them that'll challenge you guys on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm not too deep with them, but I've certainly seen them play and scouting other SEC opponents, and I know they're not having the season that they want in terms of the wins and losses, but I know there's not going to be any give up, with their staff, and they're going to be ready to go. They got a lot of talent. Their roster is back to being closer to full strength. They just had a nice win Saturday. I don't even know who they play Wednesday, but we just got to be ready to go when Saturday at 1 hits.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you then.
Wait till I see.